Okay, good morning everyone. We are not everybody here. Some are remained on the field, obviously, yesterday. I was introduced as a representative of Unican. This is our company indeed, but actually we are here as the Bulgarian Lift Association. This is what we represent on this event. Because Unican was mentioned as a company, I will say a few words because this is where we are coming from. This is our company. My father is the founder from 1990, I'll give you just this is our website, and you can just take maybe a look. This is our projects section. And we have chosen some of the projects, but just to have an idea about what is happening in Bulgaria nowadays. I don't know if many of you have been there, but it is very controversial because we have, you can see from the level of buildings, quite nice things that are happening. Economy is growing every year, and actually Bulgaria is doing well. But the things that I'm going to show you after that from elevators in Bulgaria is going to be quite stressful, and it will look like a country from the third world. We, as a company, our main business is distributing the Orona elevators in Bulgaria since 22 years. Just to give you an example, this is internal information actually, but you can see that in the last, this is from September to September, we have sold 685 Orona elevators. This is statistics from Orona, not from us actually, and by models and so on, but as I said, it is more internal and I don't want to go deeper in this. But, so as I said, we are doing well in Bulgaria, but since the year 2005, I would say, we started being very active as an organization in the sector, because we see that the country, okay, that what we can do, we do it good, eventually, but on the other hand, that what depends from our state is not happening, and the state is not fulfilling its purpose in our sector, not only in our sector, unfortunately. And we founded the Bulgarian Lift Association in 2009. Just to give you an idea what made us thinking to make this association. Where it is, slideshow, play from start, okay. It is, I used to, it's not going, okay. It is an old template that I used for, just to give you a brief idea. In Bulgaria, we have about 100. Sorry?
Display, maybe. Control display. Let's up. Yes. No.
Maybe here? No?
Yes.
Okay. It's not working. Yeah, I also have the same feeling. Good. We have about 130,000 existing elevators in Bulgaria. It is, we're a country with, one of the countries in the world with the most elevators per every 1,000 people, if you use this number. It is something like 17 elevators for every 1,000 people. In Spain, as far as you know, are about 20 elevators, and they have a lot. They have, why? Well, the reason for this is that Bulgaria traditionally people live in apartment buildings. Most of the people don't live in houses, apartment buildings. And this is continuing. Apartment buildings are under construction nowadays, a lot. But about this 130,000 elevators, 90,000 of them were manufactured in the communism from our state-owned factory for elevators. They were manufacturing till 4,000 elevators, no, excuse me, 2,500 elevators a year. It was quite a big factory, actually, for that times, but the technology is from the late 60s, early 70s. And these elevators have not been refurbished till now at all. Nothing has been done. We don't have Snell, we don't have 8180, we don't have anything. And the result of this is, you can see, just some ideas of, these are pictures that we have made in the years of elevators that we see all over the country. For instance, this elevator was from the 60s, and it had a car door. You see this one, yeah, the wooden, what's it called? Yeah, and it is shortcutted with this piece of wood over there, so no need for use. And yeah, and these are several items, as you see. Yeah. We have this broken the car doors with windows because we don't have car doors. The 90,000 elevators manufactured in communism, and after that another maybe 10,000 following in the 90s and the early years of this century, they continued manufacturing elevators without car doors. We know that here are many people from former Yugoslavia, that in Yugoslavia there was a decree from 1986 that was said that all the existing elevators without car doors must be equipped with car doors. This happened in West Europe in the 70s. Yugoslavia was at that moment very close to West Europe, and now it is still actually. We don't have this. So many broken windows, so you can put your hand in the shaft and your hand can be cut. These are some examples of COPs, for instance. You see, these are working elevators with holes in the push buttons because maybe they burn them with cigarettes, but nobody cares. It remains like this. This is the accurate stopping of the elevator. You see here, these are the foots of one of my colleagues or a journalist, I don't know who was this. It has stopped like this. This is the first stop. And all of them. Yeah, the pits of the shafts very often, or on the rooftop, you can see all this oil on the rooftop. You can imagine what is the, this is the rooftop of the car. This is the lubricator. And you can imagine the machine, what is it doing, how broken it is, and it is leaking all the time. Such leaking machines, even you can see here, this is again a rooftop of a car where they have put some piece of styrofoam or the isolation material, because it is all flooded with oil, and the maintenance, they didn't fix the machine, they put something there, and yeah, some ceiling lightnings in cars. And these are examples of holes in the walls of the car, for instance, of the elevator car. Or we were with one TV team from one of the three big national televisions, making, they wanted to, there was some accident with elevators, and always when there is an accident, they call us, all the medias, to explain why is it happening, why do we have so bad elevators. And we went to some old elevator, we went into the basement, and accidentally we found out that this is the pit of the elevator shaft, of a working elevator. And there was a huge hole in the basement. These are other examples. For instance, we had these elevators for for furniture, for bigger higher buildings, and for hospitals, where there was a door in the middle of the car that could be, if you open the door, you have to have a key for the COP unblock the elevator because you load something that is big and you need the space. But these doors, they have been removed or they just remain open, and we had a big accident in one maternity hospital, for instance, with 11 pregnant women who fell down with such an elevator. They entered 13 people in an elevator that is for 6 persons. And they fell down. Nobody was dead, but most of them broke their legs, and they were in the 8th and in the 9th month. It was a day of open doors to see the hospital if they want to give birth there. So this is the sad reality. The problem is that this is a presentation that I have created. The template that I'm using is with some modifications that I have created 10 years ago or 11 years ago. And now the situation remains the same. I will, in all these years, since 2009, I can, yeah. So I can show you the website of the Bulgarian Lift Association, only in Bulgarian, but you tortured us with Croatian all the time, so now I'll torture you with Bulgarian. Sorry, we haven't translated it. Because it is more for internal use. But if you, no, not here. This is for medias. Few months ago, we started taking from the internet information from all our public appearances in all these years. And you can see these are interviews from me, from my father, who is the chairman of the association. This is a colleague of us in the middle, also that is from the technical team that is giving many interviews. So you can take a look if you have time, and you'll see these are, we have given, I don't know, maybe 200-300 interviews in all these years. And the result is that the public in Bulgaria understood that there is a problem with elevators. When we started these interviews, that we never have looked for the medias, we never have contacted medias in our history. It was always, there is an accident, and they know, Bulgarian Lift Association, okay, let's go and ask them, they're the experts. And it started like this. So in the beginning, we were saying, this must change. Elevators must be, it's going so on and on. So elevators must be modernized. There is a standard in Europe. It is EN 8180. We don't need to do something new. It is there. Let's use it. And the journalists were asking us, yes, but who is going to pay for this? And how much does it cost, of course? And yeah, we were saying what costs, for instance, there was a child, 2-3 years old, that one of the elevator recently without a car door cut 2 of his fingers. Innocent child, 2 or 3 years old. Or who would pay for all these suffers and damages and lost lives that we suffer in Bulgaria from these dangerous elevators? So, with the years, very fast actually, all the medias in Bulgaria, I speak about the big medias, we have 3 big TV channels that's with the biggest rates. These are the most of the interviews we give to them, but also for any other media that is interested, they're on our side. The society understood the problem, and there is no problem to communicate with the people in Bulgaria that there is a problem. It is not our issue because we want to make a lot of business or whatever. It is our mission actually to give safety to the people. And in other hands, politicians, we have met in the last more than 10 years, almost every prime minister of Bulgaria, presidents, the most of the ministers, and many other officials. And everybody was saying, yes, you are absolutely right, we have a very big problem with elevators. But look, now this is not in our short list with the 10 priorities that are top priorities, for instance. We had such an answer once, for instance, from the advisors of the Prime Minister at that time. And nothing really happened in all these years. We have prepared absolutely everything that is needed in Bulgaria. This is our section projects. There was one initiative for the Ukrainians refugees, the recent ones. But here you can see, unfortunately, I'm sorry, it is Bulgarian, but with Google Translate, if somebody of you is curious, you know, it works great and you'll get the idea of every of these documents. But for instance, these are documents addressed to the Prime Minister, our last Prime Minister, about the energy efficiency, the recovery fund in the European Union. Maybe, I don't know if everybody knows who is not from the European Union. We have this recovery fund from the European Union, 7 billion euro for recovery from COVID. And every country receives some billions. We too. Actually, that what we want is that the elevators must be included in the energy efficiency programs for energy efficiency refurbishment of the buildings. This started such a program in Bulgaria 7 years ago, I think 7 years ago, and it was a new government at that moment. Then one guy who became Minister of Regional Development, at this moment he was Vice Minister, he was calling me and telling me, we're going to include the elevators. We'll do it now for sure. And then they didn't. So, and the medias, because this was a time with many incidents with the, elevators, the medias were going to the minister, this was one lady, and asking her, why you haven't included the elevators? This is so crucial. It is the medias were asking her, not we. And in one interview she said, if I had an elevator company, I would also want to include the elevators. Imagine, this is official interview. These are our politicians. And so now we have explained in these documents, for instance, for energy efficiency is the first, wait a second, energy efficiency in the buildings, how the elevators can contribute. We have, and we explain what are energy efficiency elevators. I don't think that you would want to see all these things right now. No, this is the letter, because you are experts and you are going to understand, as I said, unfortunately in Bulgaria, explaining how modern elevators, reduced gearless elevators, of course, standby modes, LED lighting in the shafts also, and why not even the energy regeneration of energy. Why not to include where there is needed? So we explain very carefully to everybody in our country. And that's why I'm trying to tell you that we do our job, I think, very good association, to explain in the medias, and directly to the decision takers who are politicians, unfortunately, what have to be done. So we had also a project, we were asked actually to do this from the city of Sofia, the capital, to develop a project how to replace the elevators in the old buildings from the communism. So we examined the different shafts. You can see these were the different shaft dimensions, depth and width. In this, the majority of the old buildings from the communism in Sofia, and we developed projects how these elevators with what capacity, what dimensions they should be replaced, and so on and so on. This is EN 8180, everybody knows it, the whole book that maybe you know from the European Lift Association, explaining, like to little children, what should be done and can be done. And also this is about financing, because everybody speaks, it is a fund, idea about a fund that we developed. after we developed, my father actually was the one who came to this idea, but we found out that this is not a new idea, that it is, such funds are working in the world. Because everybody speaks about giving the money from the state budget or from the European Commission or from whoever, somebody to pay the bill. The bill, actually, my personal opinion, must be paid by the owners. They own these elevators and they have to pay the bill. But the old elevators that we have in Bulgaria, they are very inefficient, energy inefficient. So if the energy efficiency of the existing buildings, including elevators, of course, it should be, of course, obligatory for saving energy, especially now in this year, very big issue. It is always a big issue, energy, but now it's very hot. So the idea is that our state puts, and we don't need a lot, maybe €250 million, 250 million euro, just to start the program. And then they start refurbishing the buildings which must be refurbished according to the highest energy efficiency standard. That means class A or B minimum. You know, A and B are very, very similar, but never C. Now the energy efficiency in Bulgaria, just to open a bracket, is C. They must achieve C, and C is almost nothing. It must be, as I said, A or B, and with the energy savings, the owners of these apartments or houses or whatever, they have to pay back the money to this fund, that is a state-owned fund, in a period of 5 to 10 years, which is, the calculations show that this is possible. So we have also developed this idea. As I said, this is an idea from 11 or 12 years ago. And as I said, all these, our politicians, they say, great, bravo, you're right, give us the projects, give us the programs, we are going to form working groups and we'll do it. And then they do nothing. If you ask me what is the reason for that, my personal opinion is it is the mentality. The further to the east you go in Europe, the more problems you have like this. This is the truth. Yesterday I heard about Slovenia. I don't know if the people from Slovenia here, that they even don't have an association. They have implemented 22 points of EN 8180 in a period of 10 years, if the information is true. I don't know, somebody can confirm it. Yes? Yes. Yeah, so congratulations. I mean, you did it without big, you see whatever, you're from Slovenia. Yeah. And it is like this?
Yeah, it is like that. We are late sometimes, but not too late.
You are not late. You look at us. We are. Yeah. We look what we do, so for so many years, and they don't do it. Why? Okay. Because we are poor. This is the excuse. The politicians, they say people don't have the money for that. If we force them to modernize their elevators, in our case, you see, these elevators, they cannot be modernized. They must be replaced because they must be every year tested. Their safety gears must be tested. They haven't been tested since decades. If they test the safety gear, the elevator is going to be demolished. I mean, it is, yeah. And from the stress of the brake. They say that they're afraid, our politicians, that if they implement modernization program, the voters, the owners of the building, of the elevators, the voters are going to be furious with them and they're not going to be re-elected. That's why they look for public resources to finance all this, like in the communism, like everything is made by the state and is a present to the people. But it doesn't work like this. And the good thing in Bulgaria now is that we, in all these years of our efforts, the savings, for instance, of the people are 4 times bigger. You want to say something?
I just wanted to ask, what is the ownership of the building? Because during the communist time, people haven't been owners, and we have a discontinuity of the ownership mindset in the culture. how is it right now? Are people private owners of the flats?
Yes, they are. They are.
How did they get it?
This year I accidentally saw one European statistics about this. It is everybody can find it easier in the Eurobarometer or something like this. It's one of the European sources, European Commission sources. The share, the percentage of owners of homes in the European Union countries without having a loan. And this also, when you go when you go to the west, you see how this share gets smaller. In Germany, I remember it was 25% of the people have their own home without having a loan. In Bulgaria, it is 85%.
Because they get it after the communism.
Because yes, it is. They had it in the communism. Of course, there was another problem that nobody could have more than one apartment, for instance. But people have their own homes. Yes, and this is, you are absolutely right. This is another major issue, the ownership. Because imagine in Germany, I gave this example, but I know Germany also from other things. They have several funds that own hundreds of thousands of apartments. Fund like hedge fund, investment funds, Americans, or I don't know. I even don't think they're Germans now anymore. And these people, they see these apartments as business. They want to be competitive on the market. Their real estates to look good and to have also nice elevators for sure. And they replace. We know in Germany, if we speak about it, they replace elevators after maybe 30 years, and they don't think about this. We saw Slovenia. Slovenia, congratulations. I mean, every time when I go to Slovenia, it is like boutique Austria to me, and you prove it. And it is a mentality thing, I think. And Croatia is another big example for us now. How you build infrastructure here and everything, and the buildings and how they have changed, especially on the coast. Of course, Zagreb still needs more, but this is what we want to achieve, and I think that we make maybe the biggest efforts if you calculate all the incredible not hours, not days. I would say maybe I have invested nearly a year of my working time. Life, and my father even more in this, and other people also, members of our association, and we have the actually no results. And that's what we came to one idea is also to use this nice conference to propose that first, why? Okay. We are here mainly Southeast Europe. There are representatives from Italy, from Turkey, but Turkey, Southeast Europe also. But Southeast Europe, okay. We have many common problems because that's what I'm telling you. For instance, I had visitors from MP Mac Warsa a few weeks ago, and one of them was from Poland. And I showed him these pictures, and he said, we have also such kind of elevators. Not a lot, but there are such elevators. And so we have maybe, I mean, it will be interesting what you're going to say. Maybe Albania is lucky because they didn't have elevators 25 years ago, so they don't have the old problems. I don't know where is Albania. But we share very common problems, I think. For instance, in Macedonia, it is not obligatory that they have the new directive. It is not new anymore, it's 2014, 33.
Waiting for approval.
Exactly. And we want, I think that this initiative that we have here with our free associations, it must grow. We have to try to make it grow. To make SEELIFT maybe to be like a mother organization of our organizations in Southeast or East Europe. Just to tell, I spoke with Romania, for instance, with Ukraine also Ukrainians that are very nice people, also doing this business, not now in this moment, as you can imagine, not. We can include other people from East Europe and to help each other to be more focused and to speak with one voice. Because now, when we go to the European Lift Association, they don't really care about us. They wait until we solve our problems, until we grow big enough, until we but the Bulgarian mentality changes, and until we start wanting to do this in a natural way, like Slovenia is doing it, and like Croatia is already starting and is doing it much better than us for sure. And but we are here together because we want to share our practices and to help each other, and eventually also to press our governments. And when we speak with one voice, it's going to be different. Because if I go now to my government with Goran and with the people from Croatia and everybody and say, look, they are doing this, why we're not doing anything? We're the only ones, we are always behind everybody. And it is different. And we will help you with whatever we can, we support the conference and we will continue this. But we should think about this to form a like SEELIFT as a mother organization of our Southeast European organizations and to do something better. Yes, Phil.
How many inspection bodies do you have in Bulgaria, and how many of those 130,000 lifts are regularly checked yearly, and what the reports look like? You have negative reports. Is there some I don't know things? Can they do something about it?
We have, since we joined the European Union, actually the year before we joined, we had to adapt all our rules according to the European rules. So they were created notified bodies. Okay.
How many?
There are not many, maybe 3 or 4, I think.
Notified bodies.
Yes, notified bodies. But the thing is that, for instance,
Just one for the
he didn't ask about notified bodies. Yes.
But only for periodical inspection you have a lot.
Yes, but for periodical inspections, we have more than 100. Yes. And they don't go and check the elevators. Maybe 90% of them, of the elevators, are not really checked. They just stay in their offices or wherever, sign the book and give the sticker to the maintenance guy to go and to replace the sticker. This is the reality. And we have a state agency, I didn't went so deep into this, state agency for technical surveillance and state inspection for technical surveillance. So the inspection has to go, actually, wait, the private inspections are made, they make only to the private buildings.
Yeah.
But public buildings remained.
Residential.
The residential buildings, they're controlled by the private inspections. But the public buildings are checked every year by the state agency. And they are not obliged to put a sticker when they have made the inspection. So nobody can know, because they don't have enough people. They don't go on time. They're late very often. So, and they don't put a sticker because they are not obliged. But the others are obliged. And they don't, okay, what is the problem? They don't control the elevators. They have allowed these elevators to become in such a horrible shape in the years. And now, actually, if they go and start checking the elevators according to our regulation, we have a very, very strict regulation. On paper, if you read it, you'll say, okay, this is the greatest regulation in the world. In Germany, you know, since 12 years, they don't have a regulation anymore. But it is, we have this, and if the state agency starts checking the elevators, they have to stop maybe 80% of them. And then who is going to be blamed? This too has happened. Of course, them, because they haven't controlled these elevators in all these years.
That's the biggest problem, I
Exactly.
My country.
Exactly.
Inspection bodies must be.
Yeah. But especially, as I said, for the government, for the politicians, it's very, very complex situation when they understand this. Especially if it's a new one, he wants to change everything, and little by little he realizes, yes, but if I do now everything by law, then I have to stop the elevators, and then there will be a big problem. So what to do? Modernization.
They're getting their salaries
They
in
must
the
be
inspections
strict.
Yeah.
without it.
Yeah.
So they don't earn from that.
They must be strict or no job for you.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a place to
So.
control with Europejski
Mm.
Europejska Komisja Bulgaria.
Yeah. My father, he's including that. That's why we also want, he says, I will just translate, want to surveillance from the European Union or control from the European Union. But the European Union is, we have spoken with the European Commission also years ago. And they said, for the existing elevators, we don't take care. This is not our issue. But for the elevators that are new on the market, yes, this is important for them. Then we have to give proofs, because this is also happening. We have elevators that don't apply with the directive, assembled from all different kinds of parts, and they are allowed. They work. And we know that they cannot. But we have, in Bulgaria, actually, if you want to buy the cheapest elevator, you can find it in Bulgaria. Maybe in India they have cheaper elevators only, without doors, without any doors, yeah. But these elevators cannot exit Bulgaria. They don't live in other European countries, even if it's an open market, because they would not be, when the TÜV or DECRA or whoever checks them, they're not going to be allowed. So, I think I spoke too much, I don't know. But, yes.
How function service for elevator in your country?
Pardon me? How?
Service.
How much does it cost?
How function?
How it,
Function.
it is also regulated very strictly. For instance, it is written, maintenance must be done according to the instruction of the manufacturer. Yes. And the instruction of the manufacturer of the old elevators that I showed you, manufactured from the Bulgarian state factory, is that these elevators must be checked by two people. By law, it is only always two people going for safety reasons. That have they have to go to they have levels of I feel education, technical education for maintenance technician, and there are 3 levels: third, second. First is 5 years after with examinations. First level is after 5 years after the third one. So they have to have these certificates. They must go in these old elevators every 10 days. Imagine, this is by law, yes. And they go only when there is a breakdown, or only when they go to collect their money cash without issuing an invoice. And then they go and sign in one book that they have been there for the last 3 months. It is a mess.
There is no politician view of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Politicians don't care. So.
That's enough.
Македонски може.
Сигурно не е толкова цветно по хотелите, сигурно е подобна сликата. Сигурно има някакви фабрики, които ще се подобри. Може и тази страна няма да каже.
Yes, this is good. He said maybe there are also nice things in Bulgaria. Yes. No, absolutely. I give you a very dark picture because this is the reality with these existing elevators. But Bulgaria, I don't know how many of you have been in Bulgaria recently.
Listen.
Okay. Not very much. To show you, yeah, Bulgaria is. Yeah, not only the bad things. It is the sad reality about the elevators, as I told you. But Bulgaria is actually a very nice country, and we develop a lot. As I said, now the economy should grow this year maybe 4%. Nobody knows because of all these things that are happening. There are really some of the most modern buildings that you can see in Europe. You can see them now in Bulgaria. So I invite you, please come. And actually, I'm going to invite you because we have to organize the next conference in Bulgaria. The first one we'll see Macedonia, second here, then Bulgaria. But it is nice. It is new. Everything now that is happening and is under construction, yeah, almost everything. I gave you some ideas, some pictures. It's really from higher standards. That's why also we are so successful. We now our market share is between 50 and 60% for new elevators. And нямам сайт какво да пусна. Нямам снимки на България. Нямам. I'm sorry, my father is so telling me to, but I don't have such pictures prepared. I'm sorry about this. So the things are improving, and that's why there are big contrasts. I mean, in these old buildings is terrible, and the new buildings are from higher standards. The customers want really best possible quality, and we were fighting for many years with local manufacturers that were manufacturing really this crap quality. And the construction companies didn't care, but now it is just the opposite. They say the windows must be from Shukol, elevators must be Schindler, for instance. This must be all the materials must be from the highest state of art, and it is a lot of construction activity. A lot of is happening. The country is beautiful. We have mountain, sea. 4 seasons. It is a very nice place. So come and visit us. You will have to, because we're going to invite you for the next conference. Okay. Good. More questions, or I took too much of your time?
No, it's okay. It was very interesting.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.